And we're live, boys.
Ah, to say.
Nice.
All right, boys. How are we feeling? Skipped a week, but how are we feeling?
Good, good. Glad to be
Yeah,
back.
nice. Yeah, it's nice. I missed it. If the last week, all it felt off. It felt like something was missing. I know we haven't been doing this very much, but I quickly get into routines and habits, and I think we were on episode 5. We're on episode 5, right? So it
Six.
became a
This is
habit.
six.
Is it 6?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. There we go. There we go. And we made some big changes over the last couple weeks. Big changes. I would say they're kind of big.
Yeah, you were in town last week, and we ended up deciding to ship Sylvia to Lee and let me focus on Celeste and my Marble Golden Child project. And I sent Sylvia, which was very nerve wracking for me, sending her because she's my favorite snake, number one, and the other thing being she's, 9.5 foot long or whatever, close to
Yeah.
it.
And I
So,
was nervous because he was nervous.
yeah, but everything came out good. All three. I also sent a pure down there. We sent the pure Coyote that was gifted to me by Mag. We sent
Mm-hmm.
that down to Lee. So we're gonna do a pure project with him down there.
Yep. He's going to go to my old school girl that's about 6 feet, 6.5 feet. So she's very, very, very tiny. Kind of got our own little pygmy line, if you will.
Yeah. So that's three of our pairings, and then what do you have, Levi? Why don't you explain to what you got going on, what your projects are?
I'm working that Panda Pie mainland project. Gonna be running that here soon. And then we've got the Het G going to a pied. So we'll have Het G, Het pied,
Yep.
Nice.
25 percenters. And then, or no, yes, 25 percenters. And then we are trying to figure out what we're gonna do with that other golden child.
Yeah. That's interesting. We do got to figure that out. I mean, are you running one? You're running the same pied, right? To both of those. Can't you use your other pied male then? Maybe.
If he's ready, I haven't seen plugs yet.
Have you been popping them or just yeah?
Yeah, I've been messing with him. I haven't seen anything. I don't know if
How old
he
is
might be
he?
a little behind. He's a little over a year.
Yeah, yeah. Mine's 2 years old, but I think he maybe was a little behind too. So I'm a little iffy if he's ready to go as well. But then I've seen some posts of people locking, and it looks like their males are just as big. So I feel pretty good. Oh, what's up? Got Hell Creek in the house. Ooh, snake treasures.
Nice. She stayed up for it. I had to talk her into staying up. She was past her bedtime. Tara.
Oh well. I mean, Murder She Wrote was on about a couple hours ago. So, um,
So wait, that's six projects then.
well,
You
we only
my
talked about it.
one, your two, and then he's got potential three with the Motley Golden Child girl.
Correct. Well, and we didn't really we didn't really talk about Celeste and and Copper. We just talked about mine and then jumped to his. But you have Celeste and Copper. You're focusing on.
Right, which Celeste was produced by you, Lee, and
Yes.
we've got her ready to go now. We feel you felt she looked good when you were here last week, right?
Yeah, I feel like she does look good, and she was having that behavior the time before that I was out. So I feel like I think pounding her with some food, get that food cycling going. I think you should get her to be able to go. She looks all ready to go. She's kind of doing the behaviors, the twitchiness that's not really like her. She was kind of settled. I mean, there could be the chance that she started to go and reabsorb, but the only way to know is to try to push through it and see. So
Yeah, and she is refresh my memory. She's 50, right?
50% Kalatoa, 25% Jampea, um, and Het Anery, Golden Child.
Right, and
I
then
think
Copper is a 75% Kalatoa marble that I'm putting to her. He has no hets, but he's 75% Kalatoa, and he's 12.5% Solaire.
I think she might also be Posset Purple.
He has no hets. You're right. She is possible het purple, isn't she?
Yeah, because her dad produced my snows. So yeah, she's Posset Purple too. So you may
So
have
we
a
got that. Those will
het
be
snow.
high super dwarfs, marble golden child,
Mhm.
very reasonable snakes, good snakes to sell at the store. And two of my favorites, personal snakes that I raised from shoestrings. So really kind of fun to see them finally get it on, hopefully here soon.
Yeah, and I would love a pair, and it would be kind of full circle that I would get a pair from a snake that I made.
Oh, hell yeah. You
That'd
know
be
you're
fucking
gonna.
cool. Oh yeah, I want a pair of marbles. I want to make some super marbles. Hey, hey, hey!
What's
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited about it. I'm ready to get back in it. So now that I have males and females that are ready to go, I'm pretty freaking excited to get going.
I mean, between the three of us, I think I counted 40 breeders now. Is that right?
Yeah,
Right around 40.
yeah.
Maybe more. Well, wait, you just got the others. We're over 40 now. Let's talk about that. What did you get in? You got in some snakes. You got in a biting snake today. Our
Yeah,
topic is retic bites. We're kind of leading
ta-
into that.
yeah. Talking about biting, I picked up a. It is a golden child sunfire. I'm gonna check to see if it's possible super sun. I can't. I don't know. I didn't ask, but it's definitely sunfire orange ghost stripe, het purple albino. So it's a very orange snake, which is pretty. He's pretty cool. He's pretty breathtaking. And then doing that in albino in the future is gonna make it even crazier. I don't know. I may even call that thing a Ferrari or something. I don't know. It's gonna look so cool. So
I love the coloration. It's a burnt orange, and I think that sunfire will help retain that
yeah, I think
instead
the
of having it
sunfire.
mellow out or yellow out.
Yeah, I think the sunfire and the orange ghost stripe will keep the orange in there. I know some orange ghost stripes can kind of yellow out. I feel like some stay pretty orange. So, well, I'm excited to see it grow up. Even if it gets brighter, I'm excited. It's like having an albino without having an albino. It's pretty cool. So,
Right.
yeah, I like it. I think the possibilities with this thing are pretty endless. And had orange ghost stripe or having orange ghost stripe and a phantom, I can make cows in my collection. Once you get your pecans and ambers rolling, I can do the whole trifecta of the kilomayas, the ambers, the cows, all that. So
I love
everything just kind of a meshed perfect and great deal. So can't
it. Right.
kill it.
Yep. It was an awesome snake.
But
But it came out biting.
yes, on the topic, he definitely came out. He was nervous. I could tell he was nervous. Obviously, keeping snakes for a while, you start to learn their behaviors, but he was definitely kept his head cocked at all times. He was very, very nervous. And then once I got him sitting on my hand, the one tact I will say with like new keepers getting into like retics in particular, I know it's kind of that first over the hill step, but if you can scoop them out on a hook and get them onto your hand and hold your breath and just kind of go for that ride, they're not going to usually bite the hand that's holding them because it's the tree that they're sitting on. They might bite your other hand or bite at you, but they probably won't bite your hand, but they will settle down and then crawl on you and smell you and get used to you. It's just the hurdle I think you got to get over, which is what I was doing with this guy. I was just holding him in my hand nice and still. When I would move my other hand, I could tell he was extremely nervous. So I just let him chill until he got comfortable and started crawling on me. And then he was fine. But as soon as I put him in a cage and he kind of got to feel his own room and got his own space, he got instantly nervous, instantly defensive, and started just flying at the cage, right at the front of the cage, hitting the glass. I had to actually cover him up with the towel so he could just settle down and not see me. But I mean, that's what you have to do with some of these animals. Sometimes they're not people, and they're not dogs. You know, some are like dogs, but they're not all like dogs. And we should probably, when you're getting a retic, you should not treat them like a dog. You should treat them all the same, like they're bitey or could be bitey. Treat them that way. Also know that they're probably gonna be scared and nervous. They flew on a plane. everything is new to them. So you got to give them some time. Not every single one, there are exceptions to the rules. I've had a couple that I pulled out that have been extremely confident and chill that I can just hold for a couple hours right out of the box from shipping and put them in the cage, and they're never a worry and can pull them out and we're fine. I would say that's not as often as I would like it to be, but it's not never. So that's my story.
And you got that from JC. I wanted to talk about him a little bit. JC Reptiles, cool guy. I've been almost got a snake from him a couple times now, but so yours came out biting, but there was a reason for it. It shit in the bag, and it was just there's multiple reasons why it was not the happiest camper. But the funny thing is, Amber got a pied from JC that arrived today, just like yours did. And hers came out biting. And she said, "Oh man, I got to calm him down. He's bitey." And I said, "Well, I guess JC's disclaimer on his Morph Market page worked, because he lists, and I love this. He lists right on there, you're buying a baby reticulated python. They are bitey. They can be bitey. So we want to set your expectations properly." And not exactly those words, but it says something to that effect. And I loved that. I just thought that was really a fair way and an honest way to let people know that might be buying one online that, hey, and they do bite as babies. But I've always said the 2 or 3 handling rule for me. I get them out. They're scared. They might bite at me a couple of times. Once they realize that, hey, this guy's not going to hurt me, and then they realize, hey, this coming out of the enclosure thing's pretty cool, the biting stops, especially once they cross that threshold of the terrarium door or the enclosure door and you get them out, they're done. Typically, they're not sneak biters.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, and I forgot to mention, I was waiting outside on my porch when the guy was dropping off my snakes, and he dropped the orange ghost stripe box on the ground.
Oh my God.
So he was probably a little pissed about that too. He got tumbled down onto the ground. So he's probably a little pissed. The FedEx guy was embarrassed, and he is my normal FedEx guy. He's dropped off so many packages for me, but we were sitting there watching him, and he dropped it, and it was just like, oh, all right.
I never had a retic baby, not a single one that I couldn't get to quit biting after 2 or 3 short handling sessions.
I had one, but I don't want to say that was really her fault. It was more of me not really wanting to push the issue with her too much and just kind of let her be who she was. But once I bred her and she had eggs and babies, she turned into a completely different animal and turned into one of my nicer snakes. It was pretty wild.
Wow. That's something else. Yeah, because you don't get bit, right?
No, I think when I was in town, I had been bitten for the 3rd time, I think, in my life at your shop.
Who bit you? I forget.
It was a phantom golden child that you have on the floor. It was having a rough time shedding. Pretty much the kind of same situation I'm dealing with here. Probably just missed the humidity, the timing of the shed just by a day or so. So I was trying to help Dana get the excess shed off, and I, should know better, but I was still kind of messing with it. And one was a little bit tougher, and I was like, oh, maybe it's going to come off. And then sure enough, he turned around and got me. Didn't even, but it's so small, it didn't even leave a mark. It was more of the, the bones of the skull really hitting me than it was teeth. But still, I got bit. It was a bite. Didn't draw blood.
You need to take more bites. You need to take more bites, I believe.
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'll not take bites and then teach people how not to take them. But I don't know if I've talked about it on here, but I know I've talked about it with you guys. I follow like the Tom Crutchfield rule, where I just let the animal kind of dictate the encounter and kind of run the pace of everything. And then obviously what you do with letting your free roam a little bit, I've kind of taken that, and I think I would encourage new keepers of retics to. These snakes are very curious, so use that to your advantage. Even if you have a little bit of time, just open up the cage and let the snake come out on its own with its own curiosity. you're going to probably find that to be, one, a more enjoyable experience because you're watching it act like a snake, but two, it's going to start to interact with you and not be scared of you, and you will not be scared of it, and you will start to create this trusting relationship with that animal. But if you just go in there every time with the hook and yank it out of there, yeah, it'll get used to it, but you're going to kind of always have to go over that and hold your breath and do that. But I found this new technique. I just open up the cage, and whoever comes out is who gets held, and they've all figured it out. They all end up coming out pretty quickly now when I open up the cage.
One thing about that, when I open up my cage and let my snakes free roam, a lot of times I'll find them coiled up back in their own enclosures. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, they're more like, for yours, they're more like kennels or hides, and the room is the enclosure. So it does kind of make sense that they have their own scent and they kind of get back to their own spot. It also kind of shows how smart these snakes are, that they kind of get to their own scent and kind of know where their area is, and they go right to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But one thing, when I do have them out free roaming, they that's when you can get bit. When they're sitting there and they're just zoned out. If you go up and I always get my hook and give them a little head tap, a little head rub, and then they're fine to pick up in the room, no problem. But I have been bit before startling one. You can get bit by startling them. So if they're zoned out, sleeping, whatever, and you go up and grab one while it's been sitting there for 4 hours, you might get a bite.
Yeah,
I've learned that. So you can get bit if you startle them. If you're in their enclosure, they're cage defensive, and you could get bit if you get mistaken for food. Those are the three main. It's usually not sneaky.
No. Or if you're messing with them, you're messing with a stuck shed or
pulling on them or grab them too tightly.
Yeah, they'll bite you. They'll let you know, like, hey, nope, not for me. Right. Stop doing that. But hey, how about you, Levi? Do you take any snake bites or anything like that? I don't think so.
I get bit all the time. I don't care. Go for it. I send it. I tap them. I teach them the whole tap method, and if that goes awry, well, it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, have you really found like the tap method not work for you?
With a handful of them. Believe it or not, that fucking granite back, that thing's a psychopath, man.
Is it really?
Until it's out of the enclosure, promise you put a hook in there, it's going to get on the hook. As you're pulling it out, if your hand's not back, it's going to go for you. You have to get it out of the enclosure and show it's out of the enclosure. It just will not break its food motivation. It's one of the craziest things I've seen so far, but snakes are like people. Every personality is different.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like that one female I had. Like, I mean, that's kind of how she was her whole life. Like, as soon as I got her into her first enclosure, it was just like, don't stick your hand in here. Don't mess with me. I don't want any part of it. Like, just don't. So, I mean, thank God, because she ended up starting the whole breeding thing, and I got the one from Garrett, and then now here we are. But
yeah, and I mean, once they're out, it's usually 99% of the time they're going to be cool.
Yeah,
it's getting them out for the most part for new keepers, and then keepers that don't have like a free roaming area. You tap train them, you ball train them. I mean, they're known to be red and blue. You can train them either way. However your tactic is, once they're out, they're fine.
Yeah. I like to do the tap, whether it's the head or the body, just kind of let them know I'm here. And then I like to, depending on the animal, I've just found you go in there with intention to get them. Be quick, be confident, just swoop up, scoop, get them up onto your hand and get them out. Like, that's just do it real quick.
Send it.
Send it. Absolutely. I agree. I mean, that's kind of how I deal, especially with like my babies that I have. It's a hook. I just real quick lift them up. Don't give them an opportunity to turn around, get anything, put my hand underneath. I'm the tree, and that's it. They're good.
That's what I do. I give them a little rub on the head, and then I hold the head down with the hook and grab the body, and it's over.
I like to
I don't hold it down hard or anything, just so it can't get up and bite me while I'm pulling it out.
Yeah, I like to kind of, because of the way my cages are, I like to hook them, lift them up, and then I drag them onto my hand, and then I unhook them on my hand. and
Okay.
then they're just sitting on my hand, and then I let them chill for a second, kind of figure out that they're like, they're okay, and then once they start crawling around and they smell me a little bit, then we trust each other and we're good.
I mean, I'll kind of push their head out of the way because I mean, feeding and the way I look at it, feeding and going in with a hook could be very similar for what I do.
Yeah,
So I separate the two motions. I don't dangle anything in front of them when I go and tap them. I make quick, and like you said, with quick intention, right? And I'll kind of move their head out of the way. Like I don't pin it down or anything. I just move it so they feel that this
yeah,
interaction's different than when their food being dangled from the tongs or from a hand. It breaks that motivation, I think.
yeah. No, I agree. Hesitation is the biggest enemy of a reptile keeper. If you hesitate when you go in there to grab an animal, you
Makes
may
sense.
like, yeah, I mean, you're fucked. I mean, whether the animal's defensive or not, you are defeated as the keeper. You're defeated already. You're in fear. You don't want to. There's a part of you that now doesn't want to handle that animal because you've hesitated, and now you're like, oh, it's caught me hesitating. Oh fuck, what do we do? That's why I just say clear intentions. Just if you have to hold your breath, whatever that means for you, just go in there and scoop it, put it in there, and just okay, we're good. And then just go for it. You just kind of have to get over that hump. I know it's easier said than done, but once you do it, really only takes once, and then you have all the confidence, and you'll just do it now all the time and be pretty effective.
And also,
And
once you've been, go ahead, Levi.
I think people I don't know, maybe we're going in the same direction here, but I feel like people overhype bites. Like they're going to be excruciating and you're going to need
Yeah,
stitches every time or, whatever the lore out there is. That's not true at all. I mean, I've taken bites from 12 footers and not needed stitches.
yeah.
And
I
it
would say
doesn't hurt as bad as people think. It really just doesn't.
no. I
And
think it's mental. It's a mental thing.
hold on, I lied. Let me take that the fuck back. That MBK hurt like a motherfucker. When they get your fingers,
Yeah. Well,
I give anybody that any time of day. When they get your fingers, that shit sucks ass.
when they start to do the feeding thing and they start to do the rocking of the head, that hurts because they're rocking, they're cutting. That hurts. I don't care who you are. That hurts. But a defensive bite, usually you don't even know what happened or you don't even know you're hit until the blood starts running because there is no pain. You don't really feel it because they're sharp little needle points and they just get in there. They do their job. They stick you and they're out. But
Mm-hmm.
the blood. But I was saying the striking part of it. It's a mental that strike. It's a fear thing. It's probably instinctual and DNA things like you talk about a lot, Levi. It's like I think it's a lot of that's hard for us, a lot of us to overcome. It's hard for me. That's probably why I don't get bit. It's because I don't like to. It freaks me out even to today. I'll still fucking jump, even though I know it's not bad. I can't stop that natural reaction. It's a lot not as dramatic, but I can't stop it. It just happens. I just pull. I'm working on it, but even how many years I've been keeping them, I still do it. Some of us just have it worse than others, but you're right. It's not nearly as bad, but you can tell me that. And I know it. I've been bit a couple times. Like I know it's not as bad, but it just, my body, my instinct won't let it just happen.
I think it's because the snake, once it decides to bite you, you're bitten. There is no getting away from it.
Yeah.
You by the time you're retracting, you're already bit.
Yeah.
So I think if you just get bit enough, I think working at the store, having the store for 5 years, I've been bit so many times. I think just getting bit enough times, you just don't worry about it anymore. You're never afraid of that. You know what I mean? You don't worry about it. And I'm not saying it's good that you haven't been bit that many, but I'm saying that sometimes when you get bit a bunch of times, that also has a numbing effect on you as far as your reaction to that kind of fades.
For sure.
Now, let me bring in.
I'm just too quick. That's why they can't
let me bring in a safety conversation into bites, right? Like I guess we could touch safety on this. Lee is probably gonna be the safest with the mainlands when he has adults. I will tell you right now, that golden child Molly, if she decided she was gonna let me fucking have it, I'm probably gonna get bit. I don't know. 50-50 because where Lee has an incomplacency, Bill, you and I probably have a complacency where we get used to it. We count on the routine. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. What happens when that goes wrong? We're so complacent in it when it comes to a giant snake, we're probably gonna take a nasty bite. It's not if, it's when, right? When we're dealing with big constrictors, maybe we moved our hand different that day. Maybe it looked like a rodent, whatever the case may be. Lee, on the other hand, I would argue doesn't because he has that fear still. And I've even noticed it when I'm out herping, where my complacency comes in because I work with snakes so oftenly, even
Mhm.
with a venomous animal. The fear and respect is there, but I'll do something and then I'll look back at it 10 seconds later. I'm like, dude, what the fuck was I doing? Like,
Yeah.
what? That was a
Yeah.
Western Diamondback you were just messing with, man. That's not a reticulated python. That's not a small baby bull snake. But I'll catch my mistakes. Like I don't know if people ever
Yeah.
see it on camera, but there are certain things I've done where I'm like, I'm never doing that again because I noticed like maybe my foot was a foot closer than it should have been. My hand was this much closer than it normally is. And I think that has to do with the complacency of whatever, I just get bit. It is what it is. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
stick my hand in here and grab this little fucker.
Yeah.
Like you said, eventually a big snake will get us. And I haven't been bit by a great big one yet. I mean, I've been bit by a 6-footer, but nothing bigger. But they're worth it. Knowing that you're going to take a nasty bite one day, to not work with them because you didn't want to get bit, it's
Ah,
so worth the eventual bite that you'll take. These animals are that cool.
yeah. If I would have been bit 1,000 times, it would be every single one of those 1,000 bites would be worth it for that snake that I got from when I was when we did the show in Arizona. I mean, that snake, I literally like. It's nothing like super crazy genetically. I mean, it's not bad, but locality wise, it's not really that anything crazy. It's technically a mainland, but man, her personality, that snake, it's the coolest snake I've ever owned in my entire life, bar none. And I don't think you can find that. Like you can only find that kind of a snake though in a retic. I don't I don't know if you can find it anything else. Maybe a berm or like a ball because they're super boring. But it's not. She's not boring. She's really cool, but she likes to chill. Like she's just the perfect animal.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, it's totally worth it in the long run. And then, I mean, my best advice to somebody that doesn't want to get bit ever, and it's just say it's an overwhelming fear, but they love snakes, right? Some fears can't be overcome. It takes
Yeah.
too long, or some people just give into it, and that's fine. But if you want to work with the animal, go work with a venomous keeper. I can promise you, if you follow their protocol, it's going to be a lot more work, but you're never going to get bit. I know 5 venomous keepers I can name off the top of my head. Never been bitten, probably never will be. And if they ever do, it is the most freak accident. You've got a better chance of being struck by fucking lightning
Yeah.
than taking a bite because of what they do. And that is also an option. You don't have to just be all willy nilly like we are.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I
mean,
go in and it is what it is, but some people may not like that. So there are options out there.
yeah. I would say probably out of the three of us, I probably treat my animals more like a venomous keeper. I have a certain procedure and everything I kind of go through, like when I'm taking animals out and stuff. Not as much anymore because I built up trust with a lot of the snakes that I pull out, but the snakes I don't have trust for, I do follow my same procedure that I always have. So, I mean, I feel like if I transitioned over to venomous, it wouldn't be that hard. Even in going working with them, I'd be like, oh yeah, I already do kind of a lot of this only with just like retics and ball pythons. Well, I don't have any ball pythons anymore, but with retics, I mean, I'd probably fall more in line with that.
You
Good
got rid of
job.
your
Proud of
balls?
you.
Hold on a minute. I didn't know you got rid of your ball pythons.
They're not gone, but they're gone in my heart. I'm gonna put them up on Morph Market. I just haven't yet, but I mean, I'm not keeping them. The plan is to get rid of them. I don't want to breed them again. So
Didn't you just have a clutch too?
yeah, I had that Partho clutch, but that baby didn't make it. So
Oh,
I'm over it. I don't want to do it again. It was cool. I mean, that baby was cool, but I don't want to do it again. Retics are nothing.
Real quick, while we're on the topic, let's talk about venomous bites versus a constrictor bite.
Yes, please. You start it.
So I was gonna say I think I have the most venomous experience out of the group.
By far.
Unless
Absolutely.
and by venomous experience I mean herping. I don't keep venomous at this time. I will. Um a venomous bite is never a good thing. I don't care what social media says. I don't care what Chandler's Wildlife dumbass out there is doing. I don't care how many free handling videos you see. I don't care how many tailing videos you see. A bite is never, ever, ever, ever a good thing. You never, ever, 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 ever want to take a venomous bite. Whether you survive or not, it's never a good look on the hobby. It's never a good result. You may live, but some severe consequences coming from it. Even as minor as a Western Diamondback, all the way up to the severity of an inland an inland taipan. Right? We'll go from. I know there's less medically significant out there, but mine is the Western Diamondback as far as like you're gonna live, you're gonna have a bad time, you're gonna have some severe consequences, but it's not necessarily life threatening like the inland taipan, where if you take a bite, more than likely death is gonna be the outcome unless there's a protocol, right? A constrictor bite is not going to have as severe consequences. It can be dangerous, but not as dangerous. You still want your protocols, you still want your safety measures, you still want everything that goes involved. But again, you're not going to necessarily face that life threatening, severe consequences you are from a venomous animal. Let's say you take a bite from a viper, right? An exotic viper. You're going to need anti-venom. You're going to need a hospital. You're going to need doctor care. You're going to have an expensive medical bill. USARC is going to have another fucking media outlet to deal with the whole spiel of it, right? Versus even let's say my 16-foot mainland, I take a bite from her, whether it's a food bite or a defensive bite. There are going to be some consequences, but I'm not going to need an anti-venom. I'm more than likely not going to need a long hospital trip. I may need one for stitches, but again, the severe consequences aren't as severe. And more than likely, I'm going to have some scarring that's going to go away over a couple of years. I'm not going to lose my hand. I'm not going to lose my arm. I'm not going to need to get a new kidney. Shout out to you, Jeff, you fucking piece of shit. Not going to need any of that. Right. So that's where the differences really lies. One is severe, one has consequences. They're not of the same level.
But a retic bite is no joke. Can we throw that skull back up on there, Levi?
Yeah, it's not going to be a good time.
Do we know how big this animal was?
No.
Based on the size of those teeth, I would say at least 15, probably 16 foot.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you would have told me 12. I mean, it could just be angled and zoomed in on the picture or whatever. But regardless, those teeth are no joke. They're meant to grab you. They're meant to hold. They'll shred you.
That's why you bleed.
Yeah, I mean, if you get bit in the right spot by a retic, I mean, it can be dangerous. It can be pretty dangerous. However, it's like a bleed out type situation. I don't know if we have any medical people on here, but like probably keeping a tourniquet in a retic room wouldn't hurt. You can go ahead and tourniquet off an area if it was ever bitten pretty bad. But I mean, that's what you're having to deal with. Yeah, I mean, that's what you're having to deal with is, if it gets you in a really bad artery or vein or something that can really lacerate you. I mean, that's where they can get like dangerous. Other than that, it's going to be a lot of blood. Even my one kind of serious bite was a grazing food defense or a food bite. It just grazed and her teeth just sliced me. I mean, I was bleeding pretty heavily just from a graze. So a full on contact bite, you're going to bleed.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, snakes have an anticoagulant in their saliva. So
is that proven or is that a myth?
The last I heard, it was scientifically proven. Like there was evidence behind it. And I mean, taking a bite from every snake that I've taken a bite from, I agree with it because you bleed pretty freaking heavily for a minor bite.
Yeah, it seems like it just flows out very much more like water for a few minutes than just coagulates up. So I would agree. I've always been told that. I've never actually looked it up to see if it was really true.
Yeah, because the slight research I've done, I mean, I know for a fact some species for sure have it. And if I'm not mistaken, I read that all of them do to a certain level. Some heavier than others, some not as much, but it's
Yeah.
still there. So you're gonna bleed.
Yeah.
And it's not the end of the world, I promise. Unless they get an artery. And I mean, honestly, I think I've only talked to like one or two people that have taken a bite to an artery,
Yeah.
and it's that food bite.
Yeah. I just hate saying never.
results in.
I hate saying never. This world is crazy and crazy things happen and weird freak scenarios happen. So you could get bit really good on your wrist and maybe slice quite a few veins right there. And that can be pretty dangerous. I mean, that's why people commit suicide, or that's how they do it. You know, they slit the wrists and stuff. So, you know, there are areas where you can get bit and it could be a problem, but, you know.
I mean, in all honesty, with safety protocols,
you'll be fine.
You minimize that. It becomes like a 1% chance, you know, I would say.
Yeah.
But let's say
without safety protocols, I mean, it could be higher.
What's the safety protocol for feeding? Let's talk about that. How do you keep these? How do we stay safe when we're feeding and they're in food mode and they come out flying for that food?
I'll be right back. You guys talk.
Okay. Yeah, I find this is going to be kind of funny because I used to think, and I will even say it now, with my retics, I hate to say it, but I pull them out. I pull them out of their enclosure. I put them in a tub. I feed them in a separate tub. Now I'm doing it even because of the benefits I'm seeing, because I had to cohab temporarily for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I have found benefits from doing that. Even 2 or 3 times, the snakes have gotten habituated to it, whereas I would have said in my past, like, that's bullshit. Snakes don't, they just eat and they, whatever. I would say that's for most snakes, yeah, but these retics are a lot smarter than a lot of people give them credit for. I'm not saying they're human smart, but they definitely are raptorish type smart. So I've noticed that now that I've done that, I take them out and put them in a tub to feed. Opening up the cage is nowhere near the experience it used to be. I mean, when I would open up the cage, a mouth of teeth and fury and force would come flying at me through that opening. Now, it's just a ginger little, do I get to come out to play? It's not even the same response. So when I noticed that just from the cohabbing situation, I'm like, oh my God, I got to do this with my breeders, because this is going to make introductions and stuff so much easier, because when I open that cage, they're not going to mistake the male for a rat coming in, because that's not what they're used to having happen. They're used to getting pulled out to feed. So when that door opens, they may think they're actually going to get held instead, but now the male's coming in. Because in the past, not doing that, I have had females in food response, in breeding mode, hit the male, wrap them up, and it can be pretty dramatic. It's not nearly as serious as you make it out to be, but it is a very dramatic situation when that female wraps up your male. You think your season's over and your life is done. So if I can prevent that stress and anxiety, I'm going to, and I found this method actually works with my animals pretty well through all of them.
I'm still not going to agree with you on this one.
You don't have to do. I'm proof. It's working. It's literally working for me. You could come and open up my cages, and it's not going to be like what you do when you open up your cages with your snakes, and you'll be like, "What the fuck?" And the only thing I'm doing different is I feed them in a tub now. And I'll tell you, I was the first one, and I used to say it for years that's fucking bullshit. And the people that do that with ball pythons and shit, I thought was just dumb. Like that's not, those snakes aren't, they're ball pythons, but these snakes, they figured it out. Like, it is a routine. Like, they get used to shit very quickly, like a raptor and stuff. And I have no stress opening up my cages now to deal with my animals.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's cool, but I'm still not gonna. The stress that you're putting the animal under after it eats, and then you're moving it, you're picking it up, you're putting it back in an enclosure. For smaller snakes, I get it, but when you're dealing with mainlands, good fucking luck.
I think you're overblowing the stress that the animal takes on. I think you're really putting your own feelings inside of an animal that doesn't feel those things. I mean, you have to think about, you're picking it up and putting it back into his enclosure, and it's going to take, 5 seconds? it's going to be basically stressed out for maybe all of 5 seconds and probably forget about it in another 10. So I think we're blowing up the stress portion of the animal, especially on the feeding thing, especially an older animal. It's a pretty established animal. It's not going to regurgitate just because you touched it. That's just my feelings with that. I feel like even like, when my snakes were gravid, I would feel that same way until you do it a few times. And you're like, it's just a snake. Pregnant people, their bodies are protecting those things. You can be you don't have to be rough. I'm not saying go smack it or use it as a baseball bat, but you can pick up the snake while it has eggs in it. Wouldn't do it regularly, but if you need to clean it, you're going to have to get it out. You just do as little movement as possible. I'm not feeding it and then holding it for 2 hours and then putting it back in its cage. Like, not doing that.
Right. I mean,
Because
I guess I see it, but I don't know, man.
I would just invite you, like, just come hang out with me when I do my feeding day, and then you let me know if you think my animals are stressed at all during that process. And if you think they are, then hey, I'll hear you out, and I might even stop doing it if I feel like that's true. But I mean, my life's easier opening up the cages now.
Okay, that's fair. I don't know. The more that you're kind of putting it out there, the more I'm thinking about it. I mean, in the wild, they're going to move around a little bit, but they're not going to move around a lot after a meal. They're going to get to cover, hide away. They're not being lifted necessarily. They're not moving around as much. But I guess from point A to point B being quick, like you said, it might be something to explore.
It's just, and two, I mean, I'm also not like putting them in there and then feeding them, and then as soon as they're done swallowing their meal, I throw them back in their cage. Like, they sit in that tub in that darkness for like 2, 3, 4 hours. They'll sit in that tub, but I keep my room heated, so they're still in a warm room. Their tub is warm that they're sitting in, but they're all just sitting in there for a couple hours. They kind of are calming down. They're already starting their digestion phase. Then all I do is I pop it open, I hook them real quick, I set them in their cage, and I back out and I shut it. No muss, no fuss. That process is about 2 seconds for them. I honestly think half the time they don't even know what the fuck just happened. They're like, what?
Is there any risk to that penetrating through the skin, though? The prey.
I mean, I feed rats. I would maybe feel differently if I fed like, quail or, beaked items or something with, talons or claws, especially when they get bigger and stuff. But
I cut those off.
Yeah, I mean, but when I'm feeding rats or rabbits, no, not really. Even when they're really, really big, I just try not to touch those areas, just kind of support around it and then put them in real quick. But even too, if they're that big or eating that big of meals, like a 3-pound, rabbit or some pigs or something like that, I may not be pulling them out to feed them at that point anymore. They're probably just eating in their cage. So
I was going to say size is definitely going to come into the factor because I'm like in my head right now thinking about how I'd get fucking apotheosis out.
Yeah.
That shit ain't happening.
Yeah, I mean, my super dwarfs and my pure super dwarfs, I'll probably be doing that their whole lives. But my bigger side dwarves or like my mainland girls, if I have any mainland girls that really get to mainland size, like those girls at some point, yeah, they're not going to be getting pulled out to eat anymore. No.
Okay, that's fair. Bill, what's your safety protocol of feeding?
Well, I open up the glass because I've got the animal plastic enclosures, and I slide the glass open with the hook, and then I take the tongs and I hold the prey just outside the door and let them hit it. If they're smaller, obviously I get in the enclosure, but the bigger ones, that's how I do it. I just stay out of the way, way out of the way. And you have to be conscious of it, and you can't become complacent because you'll get tagged.
I used to open up the door, slide the tongs that were holding the rat in, and then shut the door on that so they couldn't come out, and then they would just hit the rat right there.
That's a good idea. I've done that. So when you do get bit, what do we do, guys? I know it wouldn't be complete if we didn't talk about Levi's viral video. 1.2 million views so far. but we tried to get that MBK off, and he said about the finger being very painful. I know a lot of times you try to do it a natural way. I know he was trying to use water
Yeah.
because we don't know, putting chemicals, rubbing alcohol, hand sanitizer, putting that in their mouth. Yeah, they'll release, but is that okay for the snake?
I think me and Levi are kind of on the same page with that. I don't like chemicals.
I'm not a fan of them, man. I'm just not. Like, there's no way that you can tell me what that hand sanitizer is going to do to that animal. I'll tell you right now, if you take a dab of hand sanitizer, just the smallest little dab, and put it on your tongue, let me know how your body reacts.
Yeah. Yeah. I could, you can maybe get me on Listerine. Maybe. That stuff that we do put in our own mouths. So maybe Listerine you could sell me on is like if you want to go chemical that way. But I don't like the rubbing alcohol. I don't like even just like Everclear alcohol. I don't like the hand sanitizer. I just feel like those I just don't like that. I don't think that's good for an animal to be sprayed in the mouth and ingest it in any sort of way.
Just do it like Garrett and bite the tail.
I mean,
Well,
if
let's
I got
talk
bit,
about that for a second.
Probably.
Bill, I mean, out of all the bites I've taken at the shop, what was the one successful method that we had? I bit the tail. Obviously, you don't like take a fucking chunk out of the snake. What I do is I wrap my lips around my teeth, right? Or I kind of gum it. And I mean, that'll give you enough bite force to let the animal know, like, hey, you're fucking up, dude. And it works. I've had that work more than I've had anything else work.
Yeah.
And no chemicals.
Right. Yeah. And water is a good, can be a way to get them off.
Yeah. So when it comes to bites and like bad bites and wrapping, it's never been on me. But like I briefly said before, it's been when my females during breeding season mistake my male, and they hit him and wrap him up like food, and then he wraps her up out of defense. That's when I have to use my method, and my preferred method is water.
So on that water tip, I actually was reading a little bit yesterday about that. So running water is not a good idea. So putting them under a running faucet is actually waterboarding them. So they will intake water into their respiratory system. What you want to do is fill a tub or a sink or something and put them underwater, like they're going to soak or whatever. And eventually they will have to release. They're not going to have a choice but to come up and get air.
Yeah.
And that's a natural behavior for them.
So what I did is I threw them in a tub, in a tote, because they're big and they're heavy and they constantly are wrapping. So I threw them in a tote. I ran outside and I grabbed my garden hose and I started spraying them with the garden hose. So I wasn't spraying, I would spray their head a little bit, but I was mainly spraying just their bodies and everything. And I think that kind of mimicked being bitten like a whole bunch because it was kind of high pressure, and they let go immediately. I mean, just hitting them with that water hose up and down, not just directly on the face, but like face, body, kind of everything, just spraying them up and down. And with the high pressure, doing the whole thumb trick or whatever, and we're spraying them real good. They let go. They were like, oh, nope, we're done. Yep, not food. And that was very successful. It happened to me a couple times, and that was both times that worked flawlessly.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would say like the waterboarding thing, definitely, like I didn't even think about that until you said it. But flip side, in my particular situation, I would rather them possibly ingest or have a little bit of an RI issue versus my male dying. So to me, it's risk reward there. Oh, I don't want my snake to get an RI, so let's just let my male die. I can't do that. I'm going to spray it in its fucking face until it lets go. If it came down to that, I mean, that's what I would do, because you're saving one snake from maybe some antibiotics, but for that, the other one dies. That didn't make sense. But if it's biting you, you're not going to die. Different story. Don't fucking shove it. You don't fill it up with water. Don't make it a water balloon. So I think situations are situational when it comes to that. But I agree. Just holding the snake under running water when it's holding onto you, I wouldn't do that.
When you're
Not
keeping
very
big
long.
collections, it's nice to have a protocol.
Yeah. Yep. Garden hose, whether you spray them in their face or not, the garden hose, whatever it's the pressure, whatever that is, they don't like it. I would imagine it feels like being bit.
Mm-hmm.
I can see the replication of that. And I mean, my biggest thing now is just preventing the food bites in general because it's such a pain in the ass to deal with. And I mean, going back real quick,
That thing's
the same tongs that I
Yo.
used to interact with animals, I use to feed now. And I mean, this gives me a 3 foot gap between me and the animal, especially with the giant fucking mainland that I'm dealing with now.
Yeah. These
The
are
bigger
my
the gap, the better.
Yeah, these are my retic tongs. So these are about like another extra 6 inches or so longer than my tongs I would feed other animals with.
Okay.
But but that's different because I would shove the food into the cage and shut the door, so they didn't have to be crazy long, but just long enough that I could get them and stay far enough away. But I like yours, but if I had mainlands and I was feeding something big, I would be using that exact same tool.
I just use it for everything at this fucking point because it just makes my life easier. I'm not switching tools.
Well, you're getting old. It's like a gopher grip, dude. Yeah. No, I think snake bites, the water, bite. I think biting the snake is probably the safest method. Do we agree?
Biting the tail. The Garrett
Biting the
Arnold.
tail
Yeah,
of the
bite the
snake.
tail.
I agree.
And I mean, I guess you don't even necessarily need to bite it. I mean, you could try to pinch it first. I've seen that work too, where you kind of put some pressure on the tail. Because they're most of the time when they're eating, like if you notice, like have you ever disrupted an animal that's eating?
Yeah.
Like before they start to get it, like even if they have it partially weighed down,
Yeah.
they release and then back up like right away because they're in such a defensive mode while they're eating. That's their most vulnerable time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's why they regurge. I mean, they'll throw it up to get away, be defensive, whatever it is. I mean, yeah, for sure. I think that's protocol. That's the way to go.
Agreed.
Yeah.
What else you got, Bill?
That's pretty much everything I had for tonight. I know we were going to discuss a little bit about retics when they do bite somebody, how severe it can get when because retics have actually eaten people. I mean, some people get bit and they get eaten. Not usually breeders, but in the wild it's happened. Out in Indonesia. So I mean, they have records of them being in the bellies. So if you want to know how bad it can get, that's about as bad as it can get.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say so. It's pretty bad.
I even with Sylvie and stuff like that, sometimes she's getting to the point now where I'm going, man, I should probably have Dana up here when I'm handling her, Like today, Copper missed his rat. He bit the tongs, which have rubber ends to them, and he wouldn't let go. But what he did do was come flying out of the enclosure, mouth on the tongs, and wrapped around the tongs and around my arm.
Oh,
that quick.
Handcuffed you.
That quick. And he was gripped, buddy. I got him off, but he's a smaller retic. He's a 6-footer.
Yeah.
But it was still tight.
I think the rule is like 9 foot and over. You're supposed to have a second person with you.
Oh, I heard it was 12 foot, but I would agree 9 foot.
I think.
I mean, if you think about it, 7, 8 foot, even if one were to grab you in the right way, I mean, it's a pain in the ass when they're in a food mode to get them off, man. I mean, things can go south relatively quickly.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think the rule is 9 and over. Like it's almost mandatory. Anything over 10.
I guess I've just never put myself in a situation with a bigger snake like that where I've like, because I've had a 12-footer, and with her, that at 12 foot is when I was kind of like, I'm gonna let someone know that I'm getting her out. At least like let someone else know in the house that I'm getting her out if they don't see me in a little bit, like, or if they hear stuff crashing. That's what's going on. But I didn't feel like I needed someone over there watching me just because I never put myself in those situations. I had my 9-footer was a sweetheart, so then like I feel kind of jaded and biased. Like I never ever felt threatened when I had my 9-footer out, and I never felt like she was too much. But I didn't. If she was a pain in the ass or was not happy or didn't want to be out or something, I might feel different because she was extremely strong, and you can feel that power.
And people might think, when do you get to that point? And you'll know. Like, I'm just now looking at
You'll feel
Sylvia,
it.
getting her out and going, huh, maybe I should have Dana up here with me. I mean, it just, the light goes off, you know it. It gets to a certain point. You've raised the snake. You know what it's capable of. And on that note of biting, I want to add one final thing here. What I've seen selling retics at CMB is I tell a lot of people who are first-time snake owners that want retics that it's probably not the best idea. And you try to explain to them all the reasons why, which I don't want to go into all those reasons. But one of the reasons why is because of the biting. They do bite, and we've went over all the different ways and how you can get bitten, this, that, and the other. I tell you, at least 2 people a year bring their retics back to CMB wanting me to buy them back after I told them, but they're saying it bites, it hits the glass. When I try to get it out, it's striking. And I do my best to try to either steer them into a ball python or a corn snake first. But if they're adamant, it's possible. They're adults if they do their research, but it's inevitable.
Yep.
Some people cannot handle the species because of the biting.
Yep.
Yeah, it happens more often than you like to admit.
Yeah. No, I think if someone told me, and which they, when we went to the show and we had a few of those people come up like, oh, we're looking for our first snake, you can kind of generally feel from the person, like, yeah, you definitely need to start with the corn snake. You need to start with the ball python, or it's pretty rare. You'll get someone come across where you're like, you probably could handle like a super dwarf retic, like this one right here. It's got a pretty decent temperament already, and you're a pretty confident person. You've done your research and all that. Looks like I think this would be a good option for you, and I think you'll be happy, But then there are some where you can just see the nervousness. It's like, yeah, definitely go with a garter or a corn.
Right.
Go with something like that for sure.
Because it can be intimidating.
I'll never tell anyone first-time snake owner to ever get a ball python. I think that's the worst snake to tell someone to get as their first snake.
I think there's levels
to steer them into corns.
Yeah.
There's definitely
it's the feeding thing. It's the feeding thing with the ball pythons that people don't realize it. It's not, they're more frustrating than you think. When a snake doesn't eat, it's more frustrating than you think.
I mean, I always tell people to get king snakes if they want to learn to get into retics, because kings are a lot less consequence filled, but they're very similar in their behaviors of food motivation, handling. King snakes are going to catch you off guard, so it's going to add another layer of experience. So that way you're used to that snake. Now that you know those going into retics, it's significantly easier.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the corns because they don't seem to be as hissy. Like the things like some of those colubrids and like my king snake was kind of like it. They can be kind of hissy, so there's that like sound effect intimidation that can be hard for like a person that's already nervous about getting a snake. That king snakes and certain species, like more like Mexican black kings. Mine was a little hissy dick when I was a kid and I had him. And then like bull snakes are very hissy. I think that's very intimidating for a new snake buyer. Another good one is actually that was a hognose as well. Yeah. I think a hognose is a good one. Because even with their hissiness and their like bluff strikes, they're never opening their mouth to hit you. They're just hitting you with their nose. So I think the very like least consequential like consequences that will be had to being bit or hit is a hognose.
Another
Western
good
I can
hognose.
get down. I can
Not
get down
East.
with that. I mean,
No.
hognose come with a whole other list of don't get bits.
Yeah. I think certain snakes, you just don't want to give something that can be intimidating to someone for their first snake, because you don't want to scare them off. You want to get them hooked. That's what I call super dwarfs crack snakes, because once you get one, you're going to get another. So get one, you'll get hooked. You'll get another one. Give you a good deal on this first one, so you're going to come back for the second.
And watch this episode again. You'll learn how to not get bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Take after Lee Varner. He knows.
I don't get bit very often.
A lot of people envy you.
Once every 5 years, I get bit. It seems.
Let's see if the jinx continues and you get bit after this episode.
Yeah, but it didn't really happen the last time we talked about it.
Yeah, because you got that new guy. He's bitey.
Yeah, I mean, for now. I mean, honestly, I just think his thing was a trip and stress, and he just got dropped on his head, and I think he had a myriad of circumstances that were making him not feel very happy. Plus, there was another one in there because he was just like, hey, stay over here for a second. And yeah. So, but I think he'll chill out. The Platinum Motley's pretty much chilled out. She's a little iffy, but once I get her out, she's fine.
That's fair.
Yeah. But,
all right, boys. Anything else? Because I think it was a great episode on how not to get bit and safety protocols and different types of bites.
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely.
Cool. I'm going to run this outro and let's get up out of here. Thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you. Have a good one, y'all.